Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the continuation of my Witcher lore series. Last time we briefly looked at godlings, but today we'll be covering an entirely different class of monster known as Specters. Just quickly, for those of you who don't know, Specters are ghost-like monsters and creatures that wander the Witcher world. We'll be covering the Wraith, the Banshee, the Noon Wraith, the Night Wraith, the Plague Maiden, and the Barghest. I won't be talking about any special or quest-related beings. Instead, I'll only talk about the general spectres you can find throughout the world and their general weaknesses and how to fight them and what they drop and a little bit of lore behind each one. Wraiths are the more basic of spectres, being wandering spirits that are feral, lacking basic human empathy and intelligence to communicate. They are driven by a hatred for humans and a lust for life, being constantly haunted by perpetual pain and anger, drawn to kill any living thing that crosses their ghostly path. Clerics and scholars are always debating if spirits do in fact voyage to another world after death, one where eternal joy or eternal anguish awaits. But for one reason or another, why a spirit remains in our world after their body is destroyed and turns into a wraith is largely a mystery, but many agree that by their sorrowful howls and their empty, deteriorating look, it is no kind fate to be dealt. They appear between the broken tombstones of graveyards, deep under the ground in the catacombs of cities, and amid burial sites old and new. They also haunt and protect places that were dear to them in life, such as crumbling houses, forgotten estates, bridges, and castles. Being a spectre, they are also immaterial, being immune to poisoning, to bleeding, and to fire. In combat, they are fast and dangerous fighters, able to disembody themselves and teleport quickly to their opponent, trying to catch them off guard. Make sure to dodge if ever you see them disappear, as they will almost always try to get closer. Witches can counter wraiths with a silver sword even in their spiritual form, which is useful to remember if dodging isn't an option. They are also particularly dangerous on moonless nights, and can be forced into their physical form using either Yarden or with a moon dust bomb. And as for loot, they drop Spectre dust, emerald dust, amethyst dust, infused dust, there's a lot of dust, and wraith mutagen and essence of a wraith. Found in Tucson, these spectres are unlike many of their kind, as they don't always attack the living and are not particularly cruel spirits looking to harm. Despite that though, they still have a terrifying presence, and from their throats rise horrifying wails and howls, hence their name, Banshee. These calls are said to be bad omens of close, inevitable death, and will bring bad fortune to any close enough to hear. As to why the Banshee exists, old stories tell that they are the souls of women who have been through traumatic experiences and are now trapped between the worlds of life and death. They are never able to move on from the events that haunt them, and instead they wander our world mindlessly. They fight like many other spectres, but never disappear or summon other wraiths to help them, meaning you won't be needing Yarden to force them into a physical form. They can stun with their screams, making you open to melee attacks, and can summon skeletons to attack and distract you, but they are easily dealt with. The best way to deal with a Banshee is to step aside from their close attacks, cover your sword with Spectre oils, use Quinn to protect yourself from their quick claws, and get rid of any skeletons with an area of effect attack. Banshee drops Essence of a Wraith, Spectre Dust, Infused Dust, and Lunar Shards. Noon Wraiths are the spirits of young women and girls who died violent deaths right before their weddings. Maddened by pain and anger, they wander the hot summer fields searching for their unfaithful lovers or backstabbing rivals, and they will kill anyone who crosses their path. They are more than often kept in the world of the living by some object with powerful emotional meaning. So if ever any person finds a wedding ring or torn veil in the middle of a field, they should never pick it up and instead run away as far as possible. But the chances of people finding such things are slim, as Noon Wraiths mainly haunt rural areas and often stay near the places of their death. But still they haunt and kill farmers, children, and any who are working or playing amid the fields, being blinded by all their pain and driven completely mad. These spectres do not bleed and are mostly immune to Witcher signs, able to manipulate the physical world by kicking up dust and blinding or disorientating their enemies. They can create mirror images of themselves which will circle their victims, draining their life while adding to their own strength. They can also become immaterial and are very difficult to wound in that state, but leading them into Yarden or striking it with moon dust can easily bring them back to the blade. Aside from using Specters and a crossbow, Noonwraiths are quick attackers that should be watched very carefully and attacked from a distance. And for one final note, despite their name and common belief, they can, although being much weaker, be encountered at night. They drop a Noonwraith Mutagen, Noonwraith Trophy, Light Essence, and Specter Dust. Night Wraiths share many similarities with a Noonwraith, being found in rural areas, attacking anyone they come in contact with. However, if the stories are to be believed, they will go even further and venture into the huts of the innocent, murdering peasants in their sleep. They are very dangerous despite their frail appearance, and if anyone is to avoid them, one should never cross a field or meadow at night. They can create mirror copies of themselves just like a Noonwraith, and will turn in material whenever possible. The main difference with the copies being that they cannot attack directly, but instead sap their victim's strength, weakening them for the Night Wraith's physical attacks. They also can appear during the day, meaning any tales or legends of them only showing themselves after dark are untrue. However, they are much weaker under the sun, similar to how a Noonwraith is weaker at night compared to when it is during the day. Like a Noonwraith, use Yarden to bring it to its physical form, or toss a moon dust bomb at it, which will have the same effect. They will mainly be found lingering after dark, so any bounties taken on will almost certainly lead to a midnight fight, which is when they are at their most powerful. Use a crossbow to destroy any mirrors of themselves as quickly as possible, as you will not be able to see or attack the Night Wraith until you have. They fight very similar to a Noonwraith, they're very quick and they're very dangerous. And a Night Wraith drops Night Wraith Mutagen, Specter Dust, Night Wraith Hair, Infused Dust, Dark Essence, and Lunar Shards. As the name suggests, the Plague Maiden, or Pester, is a spirit who torments the land in the wake of a plague or a disease that ravages the regions of the north. They resemble an ill woman whose flesh has rotted as she wanders the land, followed by rats and death. None are sure if she brings disease or is merely drawn to it, but it is certain that she enjoys the pain and suffering of dying men. She is one of the rarest of spectres, with only a few ever being documented, leading to many thinking them to be nothing more than a fairy tale. People say that, like other spectres, Plague Maidens appear from a very powerful emotional charge linked with certain circumstances of death, such as a death heralded by a long and particularly painful illness. For example, the woman at Fikal Tower who died there. Plague Maidens are a lot tougher than most wraiths. They are more resistant to the common weaknesses that spectres share and are more treacherous creatures than most of their class. They also have the ability to call upon a cloud of plague-ridden insects that help them to kill their opponent, but it can be taken care of using your sword or the Igni and Ard sign. The Yarden trap can be helpful to keep the maiden still while you land a few strikes with the silver blade, but just be on the lookout for the plague swarms. Coating your blade in spectre oils should also help and make dealing with these monsters much easier. They drop Wraith Mutagens, Wraith Essence, Specter Dust, Infused Shards, and Lesser Glyph of Yarden. These hound-like spectres are said to appear after evil acts or near a place where something cruel has happened, stalking the roads and terrorising the location. The reason for their strange appearance is often said to be the result of a curse or concentration of ill will and are not sent from gods, which is the common belief by many simpler folk. Like wolves, the Barghests travel in packs and try to outnumber their prey, using their teeth to rip and tear at their victims, and are very dangerous creatures even to fully armed soldiers. They can also strike with an explosion of phantom fire that will burn deep into the skin of their enemies, and being very fast and agile, they can dodge many of the attacks that are thrown at them. Unlike other spectres, fire can damage a Barghest, and it is good to use the Axii sign and Quen to help protect you from the multiple attacks, including their fiery breath. Yarden can help to slow the beast, but overall can't do much more to help, and the best thing to do is just to coat your blade with spectre oils, keep a moon dust bomb close, and take care of them one by one. They are probably one of my favourite spectres simply because they were in the first game and they were the most memorable moment when you first enter the outskirts of Vizima and you're attacked by all of these ghostly hounds. I will never forget it, and I think that's why it was so cool to see them again in the third game. I think it was just amazing. But the Barghest drop Barghest Essence, Infused Dust, and Lesser Blue Mutagen. Lastly, I just wanted to quickly add in the spectre that is called the Him, a wraith that latches onto a person of despicable character and who has committed numerous crimes. They possess and haunt these individuals, remaining unseen to any other human being, but when they are seen by the one they torment, they show themselves as a towering, human-like silhouette wrapped in shadows with long, sharp claws at their sides. And I thought the hymn was a very interesting spectre because it is so completely different from the rest of them, and they like to torment and tease the person they haunt, and it's almost like they are the embodiment of karma, almost. They drop wraith essence, spectre dust, amethyst dust, emerald dust, sapphire dust, a lot of dust again, and infused shards. So thank you very much for watching this video. It's tricky to try and get this many types of different creatures together and sort of give enough time to each one, but I think there should be enough information here for you to kind of get a general idea of what you're going up against and what they're all like and what kind of creatures they are, because overall when you get a group of the same class together, they do tend to share a lot of similarities, and that can be kind of boring to listen to the same thing again. But thank you very much for watching, guys. There will be another video coming sometime soon, and then I hope you enjoyed the video, and until then, this has been a... Still haven't figured out how to sign off my videos properly. I kind of just roll with it a little bit, to be honest. But thank you very much for watching, guys, and until the next one, you guys go and have a good day. Wabba Jackie.